There it is, at just over 30 kilometres, taking the riders past the ruins of Byland Abbey, through the villages of Coxwold, Alston and Crake, before the main climb on the approach road to Yearsley Moor. And once they've done 3 laps of that, they'll switch to the course used by the women for another 6 circuits and a total racing distance of 183 kilometres with that same nasty uphill kick to the finish.
So it's a good field this for the men, 133 riders here. Christian House just on the left in the black there, a former champion as well. As we're looking at the field now, waiting for the gun, they're in a very narrow straight here. Clearly the organisers never anticipated a big bunch sprint because the roads are simply too narrow for that. And this long ride of 113.7 miles should sort them out. The women have already finished now. The men are starting an hour after the women have finished, and the clouds are still rolling across the Howardian Hills here. Out we go, away from the Abbey. Again, the race neutralised on the rollout but this time we don't do the small circuit immediately. We go out on those 3 big 18.9 mile laps first. And this was to be anticipated. This is the rally team here, warming things up. Immediately the flag has been pulled in. Sun is out and it looks as though the roads are a lot drier than they were for the women this morning. There'll be a lot of team tactics involved here as we roll out. These hills are on narrow roads largely all day in beautiful countryside, but immediately it's Team Sky. In fairness, haven't got the #1 team here because they're preparing for the Tour de France, but nonetheless all of the riders on Team Sky are well capable. This is the tricky part here on these narrow turnings. Blue skies appearing, which is making something of a change today after very heavy overnight rain. And this is now Alex Dowsett. He's put the pressure on right from the gun here, Dowsett. Sort of 5 miles in and being joined immediately by Graham Briggs. So that's a good performance by the rally rider as he gets onto the back end of Graham Briggs. And also Ollie Beckinsale getting across the gap as well. Beckinsale better known for his performances in mountain biking. He's number 23 here. Significant move this, starting straight away. Now you see the narrow roads here, out of sight, very much out of mind. And Sky are now putting on the pressure, and surprisingly the Endura team and the Rafaconda team don't seem to be answering to these early moves. Maybe they should take a look at what happened in the women's event earlier this morning, because the early worms really were the successful ones today. Now over the top of the first part of the course, and as we go on the other side here of the Howardian Hills, the rain keeps on blowing in as it comes over the hills from out the sea and across Sutton Bank. Now this is the section of the course here where the race is touching just over 50 miles an hour. But for the leaders here now, looking over the shoulders now, and that looks like Ian Stannard is coming across here as we're in the grounds of the college here. At the end of the first lap of 18.9 miles, Beckinsale having to take it a bit steady there, and that's a huge effort as Stannard has crossed the gap. But if you can look over the shoulder there, you see there's a split from the front of the bunch. The bunch itself is not very far behind. 4 riders coming together. Alex Dowsett, the man who started it all, on the right here. Beckinsale second, Briggs in third. And now they've got a second Skyman in this breakaway with Ian Stannard. And the rest of the field not that far behind right now. There could be a big regrouping here. So the end of 18.9 miles. They've got 2 more of these big laps to go. And a very interesting move by Team Sky. Well, they haven't waited for the Endura team, and here they are now, the boys in black and lime stripes. They are the ones having to do something about this now. Jonathan Locke is also in there. A little bit of a chat at the back here to find out just what the tactics are, but again a surprise. But there's the bridge. 5 riders are now up in this break. 2 from Rally, 2 from Sky, and Ollie Beckinsale. And no sign of the Endura riders. They were the team expected to succeed today. They're the team who've done it so far this year. There is the time gaps right across the board. It is a minute exactly to the main field. And a lot of work being done in that backfield now by the Endura team. Stannard making the pace at the front. Well, it wouldn't seem like a breakaway in the British Championship without Ian Stannard in it. He's been in it for the last 2 years. He's got a bronze medal and a 4th place to show for his escapades thus far. Graham Briggs, more a short distance rider. You see by his stocky build, he's a bit of a sprinter. Just having a chat there with Russ Hampton as they make a left turn. Just leaving Was here as we go out into the countryside. It's 5 riders now versus the rest. Welcome back to the British Road Racing Championship. We still have the same leaders here, and that board has given them a lead now of almost 7 minutes. Not good news for Endura.
Rob and Eric need to ride, okay? Yeah. They've messed up their race now, okay? So I want them to ride. I need them to ride, Russ.
Julian Wynne, the sports director there, and this is Dan Lloyd here, who's got a puncture problem. Well, Eric Rousel and Scott Thwaites was the riders that Julian was talking about, and this is Eric Rousel with a flat tyre, so he's got problems of his own just now as he's pushed back into the race. Well, it's probably the bad weather, but there's no bad weather here. This is with the leaders, and this is Alex Dowsett here, the 23-year-old, getting a front wheel change. Well, he's going to have to chase with no cars behind that lead group now, but he is the British time trial champion. He has been the European under-23 time trial champion. So now we'll see how his forte is. As he gets away there, he's the man that started all of this, don't forget, just a couple of miles after the start today. Takes a look over his shoulder. There's the long empty road, but you can see the group amongst the cars in the front. They're just behind that group. This is the return of Dowsett. He's absolutely flown across the gap, and he's gone right back up to the leaders. As we start the long descent here, he hits the front. He'll let his teammate Ian Stannard know I'm back. He's freewheeled straight to the front, gone past the 2 rally riders, and he's now prepared to push on. He knows the time gap is a winning gap if they can keep this sort of pressure on, even though there is still a very long way to go. Well, panic stations now. It is the boys in black and lime green who are having to try and reduce an almost 7-minute deficit here. But what I can tell you is the watch is indicating that the hard work is paying dividends. The time gap is beginning to come down, and they've left enough time to close this down. So as they continue now, it's beginning to shorten.
In the peloton, please. 85, rear wheel.
Keep driving, boys, keep driving. Swifty, the Sky's up front. Yeah. Just going to just eliminate one more.
Well, back up with the leaders now. We'll leave that to Endura to try and continue to close this gap. There's been a split here in the breakaway, and in fact it is Dowsett who's gone away, and he's being trailed there by Graham Briggs. I'm not sure whether this was an attack. We're climbing away from the Abbey here, or whether it was just a matter of slipping away as they came up Snake Hill. And they're getting just a little bit of information here as they decide Stannard's okay. He's going to marshal at the back and just see if his teammate Dowsett can move clear with Graham Briggs. They're leaving it to Ollie Beckinsale there to try and close the gap, and coming through the grounds now, so they're still a couple of kilometres behind that leading breakaway. It is all about Endura now. The men who missed the move of the morning are now trying to put matters to rest. The clock is telling us they are bringing it down, and bringing it down quite quickly, but they're using all of the men to do it, but at least they're chasing. Well, as they continue to chase, the gap is down to inside 3 minutes. It looks as though there's trouble now for Ollie Beckinsale here. We are 60 miles into the 113, and he's cracked on the climb. And the gap is opening quite quickly, and I'm not sure, but I think Graham Briggs is also in trouble there. He's the last man, and he's with his teammate at the moment, Russ Hampton, who's just sitting with him, trying to coax him up this hill. They can't allow those 2 Sky Riders to go far, as the gap even between them is stretching as well, but they're clear of the field. This is Hampton, and Hampton, I think, is going to have to say goodbye to Graham Briggs. He looks a little bit tired on this climb. Already gone is Beckinsale. And Hampton here, a former junior British road racing champion a couple of years ago now. He's decided to press on those pedals and quickly get back up to the fleeing Sky tandem. You can't allow those 2 riders any leeway at all. I'm afraid he's had to sacrifice Graham Briggs as Hampton goes back up to these 2 leaders, and that's a good show of strength from the youngster. As he comes across the gap, Sky will have thought at that moment they had it all to themselves, just going through 61 miles, a long way to ride to the finish of 113. Leaders now, and the 2 Sky boys, led by Dowsett, are driving this breakaway now. Russ Hampton doing the ride of his life here, the man from Raleigh. He's got a teammate blocking at the front of the peloton, and hey, look at this now. The black jerseys of Endura have all gone, and that is not a good sign because the clock is saying the time gap is beginning to open again. Jeremy Hunt on the front there for Sky, just trying to slow it down a little bit. He's been the British champion on 2 occasions. And the first time, by the way, was back in the late 90s, so he's had a terrific career. Well, these 3 riders now on the climb out of Yearsley again, and he was building for an attack, wasn't he? Ian Stannard has now gone. A little bit of a late reaction coming from Hampton. Dowsett just grimaces on the back wheel of Hampton, can't hold it. So Alex Dowsett here has dropped off the back on the climb. And he says enough is enough. He has been the man that spearheaded this breakaway, and now he's seeing his teammate go. But there's a problem for Stannard because Hampton's gone across. These are the next 2 riders behind the breakaway now. Peter Williams on the left for Node 4, and Sky's Ben Swift, who's already named for the Olympic Games long list as well. So the long way down now here. This is opening up into a huge gap. There is more than panic behind now because the gap has stretched right out, and Endura and the rest of the race, I don't think, are going to see the front of it again today. As they continue on the climb here, they're making a little bit of headway. They're still aggressive, but this man now, Ian Stannard, he really is free to fly. The last 2 years he's featured in the decisive move in the British Championship, and he's finished on the podium once in those 2 years. But now this race is for his to lose. He made his breakaway exactly 100 miles in, 13 miles to go, and the gap is growing steadily. The 2 riders behind, including Dowsett, are beaten now, but Dowsett really did set up the leader there. And there's another split here now. Peter Williams of Node 4 can't hold on to Ben Swift himself. And so Swifty now is again flying the flag high for Sky. Last year they finished 1st, 2nd and 3rd in this event. It's not going to happen that way this time around. But for Ian Stannard, this is going to be a great moment for him as he races up towards the finish. This is Ben Swift. He's now clear on his own as well. Ian Stannard receiving all the applause of the crowd here, and what a terrific ride, because again, like the women, virtually a race-long breakaway today. But for these riders, that's over 100 miles in front, and Ian Stannard gets his first British Elite Road Race Championship. Flag wave there by the President of British Cycling, Brian Cookson, and another gritty ride here by Alex Dowsett. He's riding to a Sky 1-2 here, and he deserves this. He has worked tirelessly all day. Stannard, remember, joined the breakaway that Dowsett started, and it's Dowsett who gets 2nd. And an outstanding ride by the rally man coming in 3rd here. This is Russ Hampton, and without doubt, this is the ride of his career so far. A bronze medal for him as he crosses the line. He's absolutely shattered. The 2 Sky riders there, and at last Ian Stannard gets the attention of the press and not one of his teammates at the finish. An excellent win for Stannard, as he's having a terrific season as well. Finishing the Tour of Italy this year too, and obviously bringing the form over. Well, 6 minutes has gone by, and now this is Ben Swift coming up to the line for 4th place here. In fact, it's over 7 as he comes up to the line. And Ben Swift, well, he's on the long list for the Olympic Games, and I think he should go. He is a world champion on the track. As he comes up to the line, he crossed the line in 4th place, and the Sky Boys continue to come in. Jeremy Hunt here also taking their 5th place on the line as they grimace in the face of all of the opposition. But the peloton now coming over here some 8 minutes in arrears. Well, and today they know they've been in a major bike race on an extremely competitive course.
So here's the result. Ian Stannard a minute 14 ahead of his teammate Alex Dowsett. Russell Hampton of Team Rally GAC another 10 seconds down in 3rd. The rest of the Sky team, Ben Swift, Jeremy Hunt and Luke Rowe, were 4th, 5th and 7th, with Node 4's David Clark 6th. I tell you what, a jersey that fits Ian Stannard will be massive, full stop. He makes it 3 national road race titles in a row for Team Sky. Alex Dowsett's reward for starting the break is silver. Russell Hampton becomes the first non-Sky rider since 2009 to make it onto the podium.